probably, I don't know, 10 hours or so trying to figure out how to make a walker. Now, I wanted to make a walker in a way that no one has yet. And if you guys are familiar with some of Zuma Void's videos, you know, he's shown the AT-AT, but the problem with that build is that it's really, really, really complex, and there is so many varying degrees and angles and the amount of bearings and then the weights involved. And what I notice is the biggest thing is that weight is the biggest issue when making a walker and making sure everything's balanced. And then if you watch some of Blitz's videos, you probably have seen his T-Rex walker, which shows a very, very simple way to make a walker, and that's kind of what I pursued after a while. And then there's another way that I figured out that you can do with wheels, because wheels can be offset a little bit and you have more of a I'll show you right here, more space to put things down, and so you have all of this area to work with on the wheel, and so you have a little bit more flexibility with what you can do. And if you angle things right, you can actually make a pretty good walker. But then again, it once again comes down to the weight distribution of the vehicle. Now, I've been looking at all these different walker videos that people have put out, and the one thing that I noticed is that no one has really made a giant one, or I couldn't find one that was a giant one. And the biggest issue why is because the weight is crazy. You have to either add in a counterweight of some kind, which is probably the hardest thing to do. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I made a giant walker using 4 legs similar to this type of method, and basically what it does when you turn it on is you can see that it just rotates this, and you can imagine it picking up and putting it back down, and that's kind of all it does. And it's really simple to set this up. It's just as simple as, let me get it back to the starting position. So from this position, if we didn't have anything hooked up, it wouldn't look like this. It would kind of just be hanging around, and this would be squared off, and then this would be pointing this way, so the arm would be actually facing this way. And so when you set your whatever degree to a -45, you get this kind of look. And you can actually do it with 60 too. I managed to actually get it to move with 60 and as well as 45, and I built a giant one using multiple arms like this, and it worked quite well. But the biggest issue is that it was swaying too much from side to side, and the weight was completely off. And so without adding in, I don't know, sensors to have thrust or to have some kind of internal counter measure, I don't know how to do it. That's the biggest issue. And so unfortunately this design didn't work out, and so I made this design. It's freaking massive. Now, when I take this thing off the lift, my frames go from about 120 down to 15, and so you'll have to bear with me. But this giant mechanized walker actually walks, and it works quite well. But what you'll notice is that when it's actually moving, gosh, the frames, is that it does still sway side to side. And this is using, I mean, I spent, I don't know how many hours, 10 hours probably working on this thing, and working on a design that actually works. And I opted on going with the one that Blitz uses because it's by far the most stable design, and I'll show you how he made it. But I definitely want to give him credit because he has a sweet looking vehicle, and my buddy Blitz has got some great videos for Scrap Mechanic, and you should go check them out if you haven't. But essentially, he uses a design very similar to this, and what I wanted to try to achieve was a design that didn't require all these varying degrees and angles and stuff, but it's just like, using 45s or 60s and 90s and 180s, and it's not using like 10s and 5s and 15s and a bunch of crazy crap you have to do math for. And so yeah, this is what I came up with, and it actually moves and walks. I tried to make it look like something maybe out of some big mech video or something, but this is the best that I could come up with, and it actually does move quite well. But you can see how it kind of dips to the left, and then it dips to the right. It's just all about a weight. It's all about weight with these things. You got to get the weight just perfect. And so it maneuvers. It actually doesn't maneuver. I was going to try to make it be able to turn, which I think would be pretty easy to do just by putting some wheels on the ends. I think we can get it to turn quite easily. But I have the speed slow a little bit too, just to make sure it doesn't go crazy. And then it also does this. Like it has some guns or something, like it's shooting. Now that I'm getting further away from where I just was, my frames went back up to 60. Yeah, and so it actually works quite well, and then it can even do this karate move here. It stands on one leg, and then I do have the top opens up for an exit, because the problem with this cockpit, there it goes, freaking out. I don't know why. The moment it hits the ground, is that the cockpit can get a little sketchy at times, and it's pretty tight in there. Let me back it up one. Why? Well, that's very strange. Something's clipping through the ground, I think, is what's happening. And so we discovered this bug with some other things where when you see, look at this, I lift it up and all of the lag goes away. And so I'm wondering if these little pegs here are somehow clipping through. Could be the issue, or maybe because the weight distribution's off. So when that back lands, it's clipping through or something. I don't know. But something is clipping through. It's causing this to happen. And so it's all messed up. But I don't know if I've seen anybody make a bigger walker than this. This is kind of what I set out to do, was make the biggest walker that I could make. And I think if you kept the weight distribution of the feet and the legs, like if the legs were higher, then I could make this even taller. But I don't know how much wider I can make it. I think I can make it as wide as I want, as long as the legs are an equivalent distance. It's all about weight balance. That's the biggest thing, and if you don't balance the weight, you get all kinds of issues. Okay, so what I went ahead and did was I switched this up. Literally, I put a switch on this controller and then attached the switch to the driver's column, so that to get the legs to move, we just have to hit a switch now. And so instead, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set this up so that we can have this turn around. So let's just go ahead and do that. And then actually, let's go ahead and delete one of those. So for every time, I don't know why it does this. Every time you delete a block that's got a bearing on it, it freaks out on you, and you have to put it back on the lift so it doesn't lag the place up. So what this is essentially going to do is spin out and then rotate down and put a wheel down. And so this needs to be drivable. So we're going to do this, and then we'll put that on there. And okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and put a controller right behind it. Doesn't really matter. It shouldn't, at least. We're going to connect this up to there. I don't have an engine. I don't have an engine in this design yet. So let's go ahead and put an engine. We can just put it right here. It doesn't really matter. We just have to make sure it's connected to the driver's seat. It's the biggest thing. Okay. And let's just go ahead. I always forget which way. I think that's the right way. Okay. So essentially what this is going to do is we want this to come 180 out and then 180 down. Oh, we need to switch. I'm like, why is it not working? Oh, the switch is on the left. Oh, so we don't actually need to switch, right? We just need to take it off the left. Okay, so that went the wrong way. We need it swinging out to the red. So let's go ahead and do 180 this way. And then it doesn't matter which way it comes out after that. We'll just keep it both on red. So 180, 180. Because that's what we don't want to have happen, is get snagged on that like that. Okay. It should be good. Okay, so that's the first one done. Now let's go ahead and make our second one here. Red and red. My dog is snoring pretty heavily right now. Gotta like sometimes put my foot on him to get him to quit doing it. Messing up my video, bro. Chill with your snoring. So I'm over my sickness now, but my throat is really dry. I'm only ever sick for like 1 day, which is great, but when you have a dry throat, it makes video recording kind of difficult. All right. So that should be all that we need to do. And then what we need is we actually need a switch for this. I'm kind of putting all my switches right here. And we need to connect these up to the controllers. And this up to the controller, I should say. And then connect that to the driver's seat. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, so holy lag every time. So nothing happens when I hit W. Oh, we need to set the... Crap. We need to set the engine. Now this thing's pretty heavy, so probably gonna need like 5. Okay, so then to get it to move, we got to hit 3. Okay, and then 4. That should lift it up. Nice. Is that enough? Wow, this thing is really heavy. Oh, you see what's happening here in the middle? It's dragging. And I think I have some of the wheels going the wrong way. Wow, it's actually less laggy when it's like that. Wow, it like completely eliminates the lag. Okay, weird. Do I have the... I do. Okay, that doesn't help. But this is the issue. How is that the case? Here's the issue. These are dragging. So, I think what we need to do is put wheels down right here. Maybe we just have this set on little ones. Can we do little ones? But just to save some time here. Oh, that really messed it up. Wow, it really did a number there. Okay, so I can make this swing out, but I just want to see, for time's sake. Yeah, so that's what we need to have happen. Wow, we need to increase this even more. This thing is heavy. There we go. It kind of works. It's still dragging. I bet it goes backwards better. Yep. So we can reverse backwards. So what we need to do... Actually, you know what? Let me try something. Do we even need these now? Because if I can... as long as I can just reverse... And even if it drags, that'd be fine. This is just a momentary thing. It's not going to like ever really utilize this to an extreme. That was helpful. Yeah. Okay, sweet. So we don't even need those. Yeah, we can back up. Backing up is better. So let's say we just need to turn around. Bring these back up. That lag is crazy. There we go. We're back off. So there is the walking and turning mechanism. It looks really stupid now in terms of the wheels on the bottom. But I don't know. You know what I would really love to make is a transforming walker. That's what I would love to make, because you guys know I love my transforming stuff. But that works right there. That's what we set out to do, and so we've got it set up. Now, this video is going to look a little weird because I recorded the outro. I went back and decided that I was going to make it so it can actually turn, and I was going to show how to do that. And so it's going to look a little weird because you're going to be like, where's the wheels at? But that's essentially what happened because I decided to actually record how to make that turn like that. So I'll kind of show you the very basic design of how this thing operates, because it's by far the simplest thing to do, in terms of making a walker. But it all comes down to how big the legs are, how far down everything is, and like what you actually have set up, because it couldn't be simple, like a more simple design. Oh, one thing I did want to say is that if you look, this bottom part, I believe, yeah, is shorter than the top part. And so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I believe this is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so that is very important, because when you actually have these rotate around, these bottom leg parts are not getting snagged on this top part. So if you make it even, it's not going to work. You got to actually make it so it's not even. And so what I did was, essentially, I brought these down 8, and then these are, let's see, this is, what is this? How long is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6 and this is 6. And these are the two things that matter. This doesn't really matter so much. These are just there to keep it from hitting the bottom. And so if you wanted to make something similar, you would do, let's just do 5 down, and then 4 over, and then 4 down. So something like that should work, hopefully. And then I'm gonna remove that. Somehow get this back up on here. There we go. 5, 4. Okay. And so that's kind of the base of what I have. And then now all you got to do is make your legs. Now this is the tricky part, because it probably more than likely will not walk with just doing this. This is where the weight thing comes into play, and how it can get a little messed up trying to balance everything. So we just put this on here. Connect these up. We'll go ahead and connect these up. These won't do anything. And then 3, 4, 5, 6. And so 5, 6. It goes the opposite way, basically. 6. We'll set that to repeat. And then we want to do the opposite thing here. So red and blue, I believe. I think this should work. And if it looks good, we should get like kind of a weird wobble thing. Yeah. So that's that means if you have this type of motion, that means you're on the right track. But the issue is the weight of the legs. And so to work with this, what you can do is add some like little feelers almost coming off the edge here, which is what I did with the other, with the big one, but you can't really see them because I tried to disguise them a little bit. But you can see they're hidden underneath here. They're those long banister things. And so I think if we, that still might not work. Yeah, so we still need to, can I get it to reset at least? No, it's going to freak out on us. So we have to make this even longer. And hopefully, no, it's not going to collide. Okay. So this is like the thing. You got to have a wide enough base. Make sure all the weight's evenly distributed. And it takes a little bit of getting used to it and setting it up. But this is by far the most effective way to do it for a walker. And like I said, this is the design that Blitz had set up. Okay, so why is it doing that? It's getting snagged on that. So if we just, let me see if this will work if we get rid of these parts. These center ones. Hopefully it will. we still might get a wobble. You can see I'm already having issues. There we go. So there you go. Just a very basic walker. And you can see how these legs come into play here. And how having it offset ever so much or not having the proper weight can really screw things up. And so once you have this type of thing, you've essentially made a walker. But it's just... it's all about figuring out the weight and getting things distributed evenly and making sure that you don't have, nothing's unbalanced. Everything has to be pretty much balanced. I mean, little things like controllers can probably be off, but these legs are what matter the most. The distance here, how tall this is, and I think Blitz uses a different design where he's got the legs, actually I think they're probably offset too, but essentially it's a very similar design. I just made it big, made it large. I want to figure out I might have to replace some of the construction with like gray, so when you look up here it looks like you can see like like eyes or something. But yeah, and then this design is also very effective. This is good for like bipedal type of stuff. But you can also get it to work with 4. You just have to offset things. But it's just all about the counterweight. And I couldn't get it to work. And this is what I was trying to do. And it wasn't actually only just this. It was actually a multiple wheel system. And so when one went around, another one kind of went the other way and evened it out. And it was very complicated. And I had it working for about 5 minutes. But then I tried to mess with the weight and screwed everything up. And so I would love to see what you guys have done in terms of walkers and building things like that. If you have any other ways to do it. And I know the AT-AT way is probably the best. It gives you the best actual movement. But it's so freaking complicated. And it's so annoying to try to figure out and work with that it just drove me crazy when I was trying to do it. But yeah, so this is my big mech walker. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click that thumbs up button below. Feel free to subscribe if you're new to the channel.